interesting connections have come up between Quant and some of the biggest financial institutions in the world, including BlackRock, Jpmorgan, and Barclays, as they do explore tokenizing assets on the blockchain. So we covered this, I want to say a couple of weeks back, how Jpmorgan is part of a regulated liability network digital currency project. So during a CBOS panel discussion, CBOS is a big financial event hosted by Swift, and Jpmorgan revealed it is participating in the regulated liability network. Gary Chan, the bank's global head of post-trade, believes digital currency will transform payments within 5 years. So Jpmorgan is very bullish on payments and on tokenization of assets. And it says here that the RLN basically includes testing different types of currencies like CBDCs, deposit tokens, and regulated stablecoins. The involvement of the big bank is notable for several reasons. Firstly, Jpmorgan has been at the forefront of bank exploration of digital currency and is involved in several other initiatives like JPM coin, I don't know how to say that, and public blockchain deposit tokens. Secondly, Citi initiated the RLN network, and Jpmorgan processes $10 trillion worth of payments daily, making it the biggest player in the payment sector here from the banks that are involved with the RLN. Now, do keep Jpmorgan coin in mind, as we are going to talk about that near the tail end of the video, but right now it is more important to focus on the regulated liability network, especially because it actually was confirmed here in the white paper from UK Finance that Quant actually is involved. So we can see here, based on this image, it says, after initial research, the analysis was validated by an information gathering exercise with key technology platforms. These included Corda, Adhera, Millicent, Quant, Polygon, Canton, Settle, and Nox. And there were also a detailed analysis on Quorum, which is Jpmorgan's blockchain, Parity, and Hyperledge Besu. So obviously the two big names here that we are most concerned with is Quant, and the second one is Polygon. We actually know that Jpmorgan did actually go ahead and use Polygon. I believe it was at some point last year to execute their first DeFi trade, and they basically showcased how the blockchain can be utilized for Forex purposes. However, definitely the one that we're going to talk about mostly in this video is Quant, because this does go a lot deeper than just the RLN. So first of all, here is the white paper, and this is from UK Finance, from Ernst & Young more specifically. And interestingly enough, if we actually go ahead and take a look at Gilbert Verdian's LinkedIn, I do like to look at his LinkedIn, obviously, and kind of keep tabs on his connections. And in terms of, crypto companies, I think that's definitely something that I do look at first, is the team and the connections they have. And Gilbert Verdian is definitely a very well-connected person. In fact, if we go over here to his experience, and we're going to go all the way down, you can see that he actually did serve as a consultant and a senior manager at Ernst & Young. So here is the official white paper. I'm going to Control F and search Quant, and you can see it right here. This is exactly what we just showcased on Twitter. So the discovery phase focused on a comparative analysis of technical platforms that could best fit RLN architecturally. And right there, we do in fact have Quant and Polygon. So this is a real document here that was provided by Ernst & Young, which Gilbert Verdian does have experience at as a manager. Now, kind of getting into this a little bit more, BlackRock just tokenized one of its shares on Jpmorgan's Onyx blockchain. Sorry, this is Jpmorgan's blockchain, not Quorum, it's the Onyx chain. And then Barclays then accepted it as collateral. Tokenization of everything is closer than you think. So here is the actual article itself. It basically details exactly what went down in this partnership. So basically, Jpmorgan carried out its first live blockchain-based collateral settlement transaction involving BlackRock and Barclays. So their Onyx blockchain and the bank's tokenized collateral network, which is the TCN, was used by BlackRock to tokenize shares in one of its money market funds. The tokens were then transferred to Barclays for collateral in an over-the-counter derivatives trade. The tokenization of traditional finance assets is a big deal for banks, and it's an area Jpmorgan has been leading the charge with, now joined by the likes of Citigroup and others. So we know that BlackRock, Jpmorgan, and Barclays are all very bullish on tokenization. And we can see here that Barclays was actually the middleman, which I do think is also very important to note, because I do want to actually go back to this tweet from Gilbert Verdian, and this was announcing Project Rosalind, confirming the Quant network's work with the Bank for International Settlements, the Bank of England, the Bank of Canada, and then Barclays right here, alongside MasterCard and Amazon, all of who built and tested new CBDC payment flows on the platform. So there you have it. We know that Jpmorgan is involved in the regulated liability network, which Quant was actually a part of for the discovery phase. We know that Jpmorgan worked with Blackrock to actually issue collateral, and Barclays was kind of involved in this transaction as well. And we know that Barclays was confirmed to work with Quant on the successful Project Rosalind, in which they did build and basically test digital currencies via the Quant OVERLEDGER. So I think it's important to note, because you can actually see here, right? Like if we take a look, we know that Quorum was used. We know that Jpmorgan's blockchain was texted. We know that Polygon was used. And the number one thing to note here is that Quant is not a competitor with any of these blockchains. The Quant OVERLEDGER is essentially DLT that goes on top of these blockchains for simplicity's sake. You put it on top of these blockchains, you use it to build on top of these blockchains, and then what the Quant OVERLEDGER does is it can actually connect these blockchains and these decentralized applications, or these financial institution applications, to other blockchains, both private and public. So the Quant OVERLEDGER can actually coexist. It's actually built to coexist with other blockchains and basically made to connect them. So it can do things like connect Jpmorgan's Onyx blockchain to the Polygon chain, and then connect the Polygon chain to the Ethereum chain. And that's going to be a big aspect of blockchain getting adopted, in my opinion, moving forward. Is just the ability to actually have this interoperability between different blockchains. As it stands right now, it is an incredibly fragmented industry, with everybody basically trying to get their blockchain to be the number one and to have the most total value locked. And I really think that if we do expect these big banks and institutions to get involved with blockchain technology, most likely they're going to go with their very own private chain, and Quant is very mindful of that. They basically act as the middleman to connect these all these chains to each other. And of course, this does tie into the Quant token as well. Let me go ahead and search that right here, and I'm going to go ahead and find, where's the frequently asked question? Yeah, so here it is. So what is the purpose of the Quant token? It's used as a form of payment for Quant services, most notably for OVERLEDGER users to pay their fees. Every developer and customer has to purchase a license and can also pay for transactions in Quant. They say here, we are building enterprise-grade products and solutions aimed at financial institutions, governments, and corporates. And the Quant token basically is the token that does power this technology. So they say here, the Quant token is an integral part of our platform, used most notably to pay for software licenses and sending transactions, but it's not the focus of our efforts. And honestly, I am totally okay with that. Let them focus on the Quant OVERLEDGER, and the Quant token will be necessary to actually power a lot of the utility, or any of the utility that is kind of gained from the OVERLEDGER. So I do like that the team behind Quant is not so focused on pumping their token, but actually the technology behind it, because that does give a fundamental use case, utility, and demand for the QNT token itself. Now, interestingly enough, I do also want to talk about this tweet that came out from Quant. I told you to just keep in mind JPM coin, and here's actually an article that was shared by Quant. So it says here, JPM coin processes $1 billion daily. And here's what Quant have to say. Jpmorgan, so CBDCs are coming, but forward-thinking banks aren't waiting for them. They're issuing their own digital currency today. Jpmorgan is one of the best examples. This article describes the many uses for JPM coin, what the firm describes as a blockchain-based bank account. Funds are moved into a separate bank account where the deposits are tokenized, with the reverse happening on the receiving end. We help financial institutions and other enterprises to issue digital currencies and implement new blockchain-based business lines in a way that's simple, trusted, and future-proof. So interesting to see here that Quant is basically hinting that, they can be of assistance to JP Morgan in this aspect, and it appears that their paths have already crossed through the likes of the regulated liability network. So on that note, I hope you did enjoy the content in today's video, and tomorrow and Monday I am planning to have more of like a deep dive and price analysis for the Quant token, so stay tuned for that, and I hope you all have an amazing Saturday. Peace out for now.